Walter Overcordial, you're welcome indeed to another edition of the Irish at Home and Abroad. Now, don't forget, later on in the programme, we'll be crossing the Irish Sea to join Martin Logan in Manchester, who's travelling the length and breadth of Britain, meeting up with the Irish community in the UK. But first, we're here in Leonard's Pub in Lahardane for a Ramblin' House special. And opening up our show, a fabulous All-Ireland champion accordion player, Aidan Croneen. Well, my first guest is Fear on Chi, JP Leonard. You're very welcome indeed to Walter Road.
Thank you very much.
Coming into the pub, you get a great sense of history about this place.
Yeah, it's been here quite a while. It's an unusual type of place. You have the bar on one side and the grocery on the other, and people are used to it now at this stage. And it's like a family pub, really, you know. I'm
sure it's a great tourist attraction because there's not too many pubs in Ireland like that anymore.
No, it has a lot of customers come just to look at it, surely to God. Yeah, it's amazing that there are so many customers that just come in, have a few pints, a few sandwiches, and they praise the place. You know, it's very unusual.
Do you remember the Ramblin' House in days gone by?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, because this house always, long before the lounges were ever built or before they came to be. The kitchen was the place where the dancing always took place in this pub, and it's amazing how it went on. Even when I was a young fella, you'd remember every fella coming in and be four facing four. It was unbelievable to watch it, and you'd hear, it wasn't a timber floor that time, it was concrete, and you'd hear the shoes hitting the ground and there'd be sparks flying, you know.
So it's been in the family how long?
Since 46. My father bought it in 46, and he reared, all our family were reared here, and he died in 66, and my mother then ran it on her own until I came from school, and I helped him from then on, and she's only dead a small number of years, and I'm here since, and I've reared my family in it.
And do you think there's a future in the pub business in rural Ireland?
It's tough, but yeah, there is, because this is an unusual type of a pub. It wouldn't be what you call a young person's pub, it would be more a family pub, and we're doing well, thank God.
That's great to hear that. Well, continued success, JP, and thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much.
Amir Bauer, JP. Well, my next guest is one of the most popular entertainers on the Irish music scene. He plays here regularly in Leonard's Pub in Lahardane. I know you're going to enjoy him. Would you please welcome the one and only, the fabulous Bumblebee.
If you ever go across the sea to Ireland, even only at the closing of your day, you sit and watch the moon rise over Claddagh and see the sun go down on Galway Bay. Just to hear again the ripple of the trout stream, the women in the meadow making hay, or sit beside a fire in the cabin and watch the barefoot Scotsmen as they play.
A lovely waltz there from the popular Bumblebee. And what about all those fabulous dancers? Weren't they great on the floor? Absolutely wonderful. We have a great audience here in Leonard's Pub in Lahardane tonight. Well, my next guest is a well-known local historian, Toss Gibbons. You're very welcome indeed to the programme.
Thank you, Henry.
Now, Lahardane is known as the Titanic Village, isn't that correct?
That's right. Now, the reason why Lahardane is known as the Titanic Village is because there were more people from this particular area on the Titanic than from any other place in the world. There were 14 people from Lahardane, or from the Lahardane area, on the Titanic. There were 11 women and 3 men. Unfortunately, of those 14, 11 were lost. 3 were saved. All 14 people were remembered by each of their families. But there was no community recognition as such until it was decided that the whole community should get together and remember the 14 Lahardane people on the Titanic. The parish priest gave a little bit of land, and we decided, a few of us, that we would build a Titanic park so that the 14 people would be remembered forever.
And what's amazing about it is the stone in the place, in the park.
Well, you know, that was really the dominant thing of the whole park. The walls round the park, and the little buildings you see there, everything made from stone has come from stones either from the homes or from the walls round the homes of the 14 people. People have come from all over the world to see this park. In fact, when the park was being developed, and when news got out about the wonderful celebrations which we had every year, where relatives of all 14 come together. We have a procession round the church every year, usually a candlelight procession with relatives of the 14. And as you know, the Titanic was sinking for 25 minutes, from 2:20 in the morning until 2:45. So the relatives each year of the 14 people come up to the church bell. The relatives of the 11 who were lost have 2 minutes each of a sad, slow dirge. That's 22 minutes. 3 minutes left for the relatives of the 3 who were lost to have 3 happy, joyous minutes. Thankfully, we've done that every year since 2005. And hopefully it will continue for centuries to come.
I've no doubt it will, and congratulations to you and everybody involved with that. Wonderful, and I would recommend people to go and see the Titanic Park. It's absolutely stunning. Okay, folks, thank you to Toss Gibbons for joining us on the programme. Time for some more music. This time we have the McLaughlin sisters, and here they are to sing that well-known ballad, The Fields of Athenry. We'll see you after the break.
Feel
What a brilliant night we're having here in Leonard's of Lahardon, and we couldn't leave without meeting one of the great local characters here, Brendan Hoots. Brendan, you're very welcome indeed.
Thank you very much.
I believe you're playing the accordion since you were a gossoon.
Well, since I was about 3 years old.
So you played about every function here in Lahardon?
Well, almost. If the bumblebee is here, I'd be with him.
Right.
Yeah.
And come here, what's Lahardon like to live in? You've been here all your life.
Sure, you couldn't get a better place. Absolutely brilliant.
Yeah.
It's lovely. I love it.
Good.
And I don't travel away at all. I just wait at home. I'm a home birdie.
That's okay. All right. And what are you going to play for us, Brendan?
Well, I play a few little waltzes now. If the women wants to go out dancing, if they don't, I can't do nothing about it.
Well, I'd be disappointed if they didn't go out dancing for you as well.
Well, I would too.
All right, so Brendan, here he is, Hoots, with a selection of waltzes. Well done. Well, one of the great community projects to get underway here in Lahardon the last year or two has been the Men's Shed. And the man that's very much involved in it is my next guest, John Gilboy. You're very welcome indeed, John.
How are you doing?
When did you set up the Men's Shed?
Well, a couple of years ago. There was a building there, and it was a ballroom before, and I think there had been a ballroom there like for many years.
A ballroom of romance?
Absolutely. I'd say there was a few there, all right, yeah.
Of course, we've seen the demise of the ballrooms across the country. So what happened then, the ballroom?
Well, it fell into disuse, and also there was a community centre built across the road which sort of fulfilled some of the functions of that. And I must say the community centre has been very helpful to us in starting up the Men's Shed project. And I'd like to thank them all for that. And but the building, as I say, was derelict, and it was decided that we'll come together and, you know, renovate it with the purpose of creating a men's shed.
Great. Yeah. And you're involved, you're very much to the front of the St. Patrick's Day Parade here in Lahardon.
That's right. There was a St. Patrick's Day Parade that's run now for the last 2 years, and we're involved in that, and it was very successful. And also, they was involved in an Up and Over Challenge, which is a race that starts in Lahardon, goes over Navan, and then comes back. And the guy who finished first, I think it was 1 hour and 27 minutes, which is
pretty good.
Pretty good.
Pretty good, yeah.
You know,
and how many is involved in Men's Shed? How many members do you have?
Well, it'll be about 30, I'd say, overall, and maybe a core group of about 10, you know.
Great. Well, keep up the good work, and lovely to have you on the programme.
Thank you very much.
Big bullabus there for
Thank you.
The next guest has something a little different for us. He's going to give us a recitation. Would you please welcome the one and only Mr. Pat Marley.
Last night I was invited by some good old friends to dine. We ate lobster and salad, and we drank both beer and wine. And after which I paddled home, and I got into bed. 'Twas there I had an awful dream. I dreamt that I was dead. Well, there was no time for repentance, for alas, it was too late, and immediately I found myself outside the Golden Gate. Why comest thou, says Peter? You know gluttony is sin. I do bear you here forever. You cannot enter in. Well, I hung my head in anguish, and I did blush with shame, for then I saw St. Peter's clerk right lost beneath my name. So faith I had to toe the line and wait for the down train. Well, the next that came was an Italian who, when alive, sold bad bananas as much as 3 for 5 cents. And he said, "How do, Peter, mean all wrong, no steal? Or on one sidewalk did me throw one banana peel? But one night in Dublin, in a full and flowing tide, down by the Liffey, me committed one suicide." "I've heard you now," said Peter, "your chances they're small. I might have overlooked your case, but the Liffey settles all." So faith he had to toe the line, the same as me, and wait for the down train. Well, the next that came was a Jew man with a satchel in his hand, and before St. Peter he bravely took a stand. He said, "Me a-coming to you, Peter, with jewels so rich and nice. It would be a sin to auction them, so if you only chuck me in, I'll let you have them for the angels at half price. And me have a lovely new overcoat, Peter, so stout and strong, but me sorry to say, Peter, me forgot to take it along." "I've heard you now," says Peter, "and very soon you'll know there's little need for overcoats in the place you're going to go." So faith he had to toe the line, the same as me, and wait for the down train. Well, the next and last was a man from Erin's Isle, and he saluted Peter with a friendly kind of smile. He said, "Be japers, holy Peter, I can scarcely keep me feet. Would you kindly tell the clerk to show me to me seat?" "Hold on there now," said Peter, "your case must first be tried, and I must see your passport before you go inside. Or will you hurry up, holy Peter, or for supper I'll be late." And Paddy chucked his carbine inside the golden gate. "Go get thy hat," says Peter, "thou sacrilegious lout." And Paddy stepped inside the gate, and he locked St. Peter out. And through the keyhole he did shout, "I'm master now, you see. I'll give up heaven, keys and all, when you set out Ireland free."
Well, everybody here, including me, certainly enjoyed Pat Marley there and his recitation about the down train. Well, my next guest is of great interest because, you know, many towns and villages across Ireland, of course, we all have graveyards and cemeteries, and some of them are fine, but others have been neglected. And that's what happened here in Laherdawn, till a group of local people decided to come together and do something about it. Just how bad of a state was the local graveyard?
Well, before we started the graveyard, which is an old graveyard, there's graves in it that are over 200 years old. Before we started, it was completely overgrown. It was inaccessible. People couldn't find their graves, couldn't hardly walk through it. So in 2004, our late parish priest at the time, Father Seamus Heron, organised a group of people, volunteers, to come and start a tidy up. And we began inside the gate, clearing the path down into the graveyard. And from that, bit by bit, we have fully restored the graveyard. We also did lots of work with the stonework. There was lots of wall graves in it that had fallen down into disrepair, and we repaired all those. Down at the bottom there are 7 holy wells, and we have those rebuilt, and visitors can find their ancestors. There's a map there that shows where each grave is situated in the graveyard.
And the work you've done has been recognised because you've won a number of awards for your efforts.
That's correct, yes. Mayo County Council organised a Cleaner Community Award system, and one section of that is for graveyards. And we have entered that and have won it actually on numerous occasions. Mayo County Council have been very good. If we need materials, they've always supported us. And we also have an annual cemetery mass in the month of August, and we have a collection on that date, and it's very, very well supported by everybody who attends. So it's a sign that I suppose that people appreciate the work that's been done in the graveyard.
Well, it's a great community success story, and well done to you, and indeed all your committee members as well.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for joining us. So if you're visiting Laherdon, I would recommend that you do go and visit the graveyard, because it's absolutely, what they've done to it has been absolutely amazing. So well done to everybody involved. All right, it's almost time for us to go. Just to remind you that after the break, we'll be handing over to Manchester to join Martin Logan, who's out and about with the Irish community in the UK. We'd like to thank all our guests on the programme here, to Lennon's Bar here in Laherdon, and the wonderful audience we have. I think they deserve a round of applause. Yeah. Absolutely fantastic. And join us again next week at 7 o'clock, Sky Channel 212, The Irish at Home and Abroad. We're going to leave you now with some great traditional music from a group of young people here with a selection of reeds. So until next week, slán go fóill.
Hello and welcome to the Irish in the UK, and a big thank you to Henry McGlade for his great show for the last half hour. Now, we've got some lovely stories lined up for you this evening, and we hope you enjoy them. First up, Supreme Upholstery Limited is a brand new company that started up in Trafford Park in Manchester. They manufacture sofas to your design, size and colour. Now recently, St Wilfrid's Roman Catholic Church in Manchester celebrated 175 years in existence, and we were there to join in the celebrations. And we'll be chatting to Joanne O'Rourke about a very special medal that she has received from Pope Francis. And Marion Waldron will be providing the entertainment with one of her songs. So we hope you'll stay with us and enjoy the show. Now, Supreme Upholstery Limited is a brand new company in Trafford Park in Manchester, and it doesn't matter whether you come from Galway or Kerry, Dublin or Derry, they've got a sofa for you. Brian, tell me a little bit about your company here.
This is Supreme Upholstery, a new company that we started up on the mid-January of this year. I've worked in the upholstery trade for 46 years, and this is the only thing I really know. So in my last job I got made redundant, didn't know what to do with myself, and decided to start out on my own.
Now, you provide a unique service, if you like, because you make settees to suit the size, don't you?
Oh yes, yes. If people come in and ask for a sofa or like one of our models and feel it's just a bit too big for their room, then we'll make it to size for them. So we'll do a bespoke service for them.
Now, you make all your own furniture here, don't you?
Yes, we buy in all the raw materials, and we've got our own wood mill, cutting service, sewing and upholsterers, so we do it start to finish.
Now, Teresa, you've got a little bit of an Irish feel to this, haven't you? Tell me about it.
When I first started it with Brian, asked me to come and join him. He develops all the models and asked me would I put names to the models. So I asked him how do you go about that, and he says to me pick a theme. So I picked the Irish counties and went through the counties, and when a model was developed, looked at it and think, oh well, that looks like such a model. So we've gone through the Irish counties which is suitable.
Now, of course, look, it's a very specialised product what you do, because obviously we just heard from Brian that you know, you make all sorts of sofas, all sorts of designs, but you make them to measure as well. That's really important, isn't it, to people at home, because sometimes you really have difficulty in fitting in sofas into properties.
That's right. A lot of people come in and say, well, they've only got a very narrow door, and they wouldn't be able to get models into the house. Where one of the things that Brian does offer is a bolt-on arm, where the arms are not actually attached in the factory, and when they go to the person's house to be delivered, whoever we get to deliver them will bolt them up, so it will look as it is in here, but obviously it comes apart so that it can get through the door.
Now, Brian, of course you've got a lovely workforce here, and I've just been out there in the workshop watching them all. So it actually starts with a raw piece of material, doesn't it? A raw piece of timber.
Yeah. All the frames are made of hardwood and 18mm plywood. So it's a really solid frame, and we feel that if you get the base of the frame solid, the job will last for many, many years. And we do give a warranty with it. So we're confident in what we make. Actually, what we're sitting on at the moment is a sofa bed, a large two-seater sofa bed, so it does sleep 2 people. You
look after production as well and orders.
I do, yeah. I do all the buying for all the materials for the jobs and the production, plan the production. So if a customer comes in and says, I want this in a week or 2 weeks, we try and make the customers happy.
How difficult is it to sell the sofas?
Well, we offer a bespoke element to our service, so we can produce something that meets our customers' requirements exactly and is perfect for their home. We also have a library of colours for them to choose from, and one of the best parts is our lead time, which is just 2 to 4 weeks from order to delivery. So for those reasons we find it quite easy.
Is there any special colours this year?
Absolutely, yeah. There's been an influx in greys this year, grey leathers.
Does it change a lot from year to year with the colours?
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. Some years it's browns and tans. This year it's sort of greys, dark greys and blacks.
Of course, you offer a unique service here, as we spoke to Brian earlier on, because you can make furniture made to measure.
Exactly, yeah, and we find that very useful if a customer's wanting to fit a sofa in a particular space or in a room and have it stretch the full span of the room.
How can people get hold of your sofas, Rob?
They're available to buy online or in store here or over the phone.
Okay. Now give us a few details how people can contact you here, because I know that you just don't supply to major suppliers. Individuals can come along here and buy sofas off you as well.
Absolutely, yeah. They can buy on our website, which is theleathersofashop.co.uk, or they can buy in store here in Trafford Park.
Now don't delay, order your sofa today with your county colours on display. Now, next up, we're off to St Wilfrid's Roman Catholic Church in Manchester, who recently celebrated 175 years in existence, and we went along to meet some of the people that's been involved down the years. Eileen, St Wilfrid's means an awful lot to you.
It certainly does. I come to Mass here every week, and my brothers and sisters came to school here, and every activity that went on we came. It was wonderful. We had some good priests.
Look, today is a special day for you, because I believe 56 years today you were married here at St Wilfrid's.
I was indeed. It's a long time ago, but it was wonderful. I lost my husband, unfortunately, early this year, but yes, it's a good day.
And of course your husband Joe was very well known in Manchester, and of course heavily involved with the Roscommon Association.
Well, he certainly was a big Roscommon man.
Evelyn, you must have some great memories of St Wilfrid's.
I do actually, because I was here for a number of years, going back to being a child. My mum and dad lived in the area, so I feel very close to this area in St Wilfrid's. And I worked here for 12 years. I come from the old Senecal when it closed on Alexander Road. So I come here and I was here for probably 12 years. Met a lot of nice people, had great, I've made a lot of friends and lots of memories, lots of happy memories and some sad ones.
And of course, well, talk about the happy ones first. You made so many friends. Of course, you worked in the Cynical here. So many people used to come in and get the mass cars, didn't they? It was a great meeting point for them.
Yes, that's correct. I did enjoy meeting people and doing the cars. We had our laughs and cries.
Yeah. And of course, as you mentioned, it's a sad time. Kathy McDonough used to work here, and Kathy only sadly passed away a few weeks back.
That's right. Kathy replaced me actually when I left. So yes, Kathy it was sad that she's passed on, but yeah, she would loved it for the few years she was here. You know, I think she enjoyed it.
And isn't it great to see a reunion tonight? Have you met any old friends here yet?
I've met quite a few already, and I've got my 4 nieces here with me. One of them, Caroline, has taken over at the Cynical, has replaced Kathy now at the Cynical. I don't mean replaced her, but I mean she's doing the job now, so they can't get rid of me.
I came here as a curate in 1976 and then went away to Canada for a couple of years, came back, and the unemployment rate in the area was massive. It was something like 80% of young black men in particular were unemployed in the area. So we decided as a group of churches, Anglican churches, Methodist churches, Catholic churches and others in the area, that we had to do something, and we set up what was called the Churches Work Scheme, employing about 300 people.
Now, John, Firm Start, of course, done a lot of work here, and you reconstructed a new building inside the existing church.
We did, yes. Part of our brief was to support local business. It was what we did with small enterprises. We were very happy that when we did the redevelopment of the building, we hired a number of local people, local small companies who did the work on the redevelopment.
And Michelle, you've managed the building here and you've managed the centre for quite a while.
Yeah, I came here when it first opened on the launch, and I've been here with them start ever since. And we've been home to lots of small businesses like the Cynical, and we've got the sisters who live next door. So it's still pretty much connected to its origin, which is obviously the Catholic faith, and we still get lots of parishioners who come and visit the centre, which is really nice.
And of course, you were just telling us we've got lovely gardens here as well, and you was just telling us there's quite a bit of history here in these gardens.
Well, there was a graveyard here at one stage, so as you are going on the lawn, if you go over the lawn at times, you'll see that the lawn suddenly goes down where there's been a grave, and the grave has sunk. It was my father that did so much of the development of this as a garden in the first place, and he absolutely loved it. Sadly, he's died now, but it's also continuing to be a lovely oasis in the middle of an inner city area.
It's great to see St. Wilfrid's been refurbished and the centre doing so well. Now, we are going to take a very short break. See you in a few minutes, and I'm off for a swift one. Oh, welcome back. I needed that. Now then, we're off to meet a very special lady called Joanne O'Rourke, who received a medal from Pope Francis. So we're going to go along and find out a little bit more. Joanne, can you tell me, when did you first come to England?
We came here in 1955. I came with my parents and brothers and sisters, and lived in Fallowfield, grew up there, went to school in Withington, St Cuthbert's, spent all my youth, teenage years in South Manchester, married and had my children in South Manchester, then went back to Prairie for a couple of years in the late 70s, and didn't settle very well, so I came back to Manchester. But in the meantime, 2 of my daughters had met 2 Tipperary men, my daughters Fiona and Susan, and they're married, and I've got 10 grandchildren in Ireland. I've got a son and a daughter here, and between them I've got 5 grandchildren, so I've got quite a nice family life.
You have indeed, and many congratulations to you. Now tell me about, how did you get interested in volunteering, because you've done a lot of this work, haven't you?
Well, I was actually employed and working in the Ancoats area, and I came into contact daily with men who lived at the hostel at George Lee Street, as it was then, and got to know some of the residents first, strangely enough. Then worked with the staff, just generally just volunteering maybe for a few hours at a time. I joined the management committee in 1985 at the request of Noreen Finn, who was a mayor woman and very well known in Manchester. I've still been involved. I've been on the management committee since then, and I've been chair of the management committee since 1994. An achievement that I'm extremely proud of, and especially the progress that we've made, the staff that we've been able to employ, who are absolutely incredible, outstanding, a manager second to none, Julie, and we achieved 5 outstanding awards from the Care Quality Commission in October last year. The only residential care home in the northwest of England to have achieved that, and only 1 of 4 in the whole of the UK. So great celebrations, needless to say, in October last year.
A very special time for you, of course. Tell me about your papal blessing. How did that come about?
Well, as I understand it, it was all kept very secret from me, let me say. But I believe that John Cox, the chair of the trustees, instigated the whole idea, and he got the help of Father Eamon Mulcahy, who is a member of our management committee as well. And it's taken some considerable time, I believe. I never got a hint from anybody that it was actually happening. And on the 19th of July, I attended a management meeting, and thinking I was just going to go in and chair our normal, usual management meeting, to be met by an incredible reception that I didn't even realise was for me at the time, but there you are. And Father Eamon presented me with a scroll from Pope Francis, and read the scroll to me, and then presented the medal. All of that time I was actually in a state of shock. But looking back on it now, it was a beautiful, a privilege and an honour, you know, without a doubt. And I've continued to celebrate with my family since, on every occasion we get an opportunity.
Bene Merente is a very special award from the Pope for outstanding merit or performance in the church. Since I'm the parish priest here in St. Anne's and St. Bridget's, I wrote a letter outlining the reasons why I felt Joanna should receive the Bene Merente medal. I sent it to the bishop. He very kindly sent it to the Apostolic Nuncio. We had a little hitch, because the previous Apostolic Nuncio to whom we addressed the letter was promoted by Pope Francis to a position in Rome in the Vatican. So that left us without any papal nuncio for a good few months. So we had a gap, and that delayed the process of asking for the medal. So when the new Apostolic Nuncio was appointed, in pretty short time, he took the case up, presented it to Rome, and got a positive answer back. In my own story, I'm from Levenshulme, I'm from Manchester. My parents are Irish, of course. My name's Eamon Joseph Patrick Francis Saviour Mulcahy, so I'm Irish. My parents are from Abbeyleix, my parents are from Laois. My sister's married in Dublin to a Kerry man. So we're an Irish family, and as a little boy from Levenshulme, I felt drawn to the missionary life. And when I was 12, I left home, and I went to a junior seminary, 6 years in the north of England, Grange-over-Sands. Then when I was 18, I went to Ireland, I went to Tipperary, and I did a spiritual year near the Glen of Aherlow, Galtymore, a beautiful spiritual year with the Holy Ghost Fathers, the Spiritans. When I was 19, I took my first vows, came to England. I did 5 years university, philosophy, theology. And when I was 24, I went to Africa. So, long time ago, 1978, I went to Central Africa. I went to French Africa, People's Republic of the Congo, Congo-Brazzaville. So I worked for several years there. And then I took my final vows in Africa. and in 1980 I was ordained a priest in St. Mary's Levenshulme.
Give me a little idea of the daily activities which take place here at Mary and Joseph House.
Well, as you can see, we're in the garden here, which is absolutely beautiful, and the guys get involved in everything in the garden. If you was be at home, you do your own garden, and the guys like to get involved, plant trees and cut things down and enjoy the fruits of the labour.
And of course we saw lovely, lovely paintings, but of course you've had great success at Tatton Park a few years ago with your garden. Tell us about that.
That's true. We entered the Tatton Garden Flower Show, and we did a project there. I can't remember the name of it, but they won the gold prize there with a project of a flower display.
It's great to see that there's so much activity going on here for all the residents. You know, there's so much other things that we've not even spoke about that happens here at the home, and it's great credit to you and all the staff here, Julie and everybody, for the great work you do.
Well, thank you. We're encouraged as staff to think outside the box, to come up with ideas. I mean, we do all sorts. We have a choir here, we have music afternoons, we go out to cinemas. The guys love a game of bingo. This afternoon we've had a pool competition, which gets very competitive. Yesterday we had a karaoke afternoon. All the guys got up and had a sing-song and a dance. So it's good fun.
What a great team of people at Mary and Joseph House. Now we hope you've enjoyed the show this week. Don't forget we are back next Thursday evening at 7 o'clock with Henry McGlade for the Irish at home and abroad, and I'm here at 7:30 with the Irish in the UK. Now we're going to leave you with a special song from Marion Waldron called Gypsy Joe and Me. Thank you for watching.
Rail yard or camp by the river banks, fed ourselves from the fruit of the land and quenched our thirst with rain. We never did allow no roots to grow beneath our feet. Life just had no pattern for Gypsy Joe and me. All we had was each other and the rags upon our backs. The closest thing to a home we knew was some abandoned shack. But we had all we wanted and the rest we didn't need. Life was free and simple for Gypsy Joe and me. Now Gypsy was my little dog I found by the road in the ditch. So I named him Gypsy, 'cause that name just seemed to fit. And Joey was my man, yes, the flower of my soul. Though he never said he loved me, I just always seemed to know. While standing by the highway, thumbing for a ride, the speeding wheels of a passing car took Gypsy's life. I lost him where I found him, and his loss was misery. Now there's no more Gypsy, there's just Joe and me. Well, the winter came and the snow did fall, and the night was cold and still. The rags we wore were not enough, and Joey caught a chill. And he told me how he loved me in my arms. He went to sleep, and now there's no more Gypsy, no more Joe, there's just me. While standing on the edge of this bridge, looking down, I can see the face of Joe and Gypsy looking up at me. And somewhere in the distance I can hear them calling me. Tonight we'll be together again, Gypsy Joe and me. Yes, tonight we'll be together again, Gypsy Joe